Hello, everyone, and welcome to Data Science Career Paths. I wanted to take an opportunity at this point in our course to kind of describe some of the careers that are part of this whole data science field. There are many of them, and in a lot of ways they're very confusing because, once again, HR calls different people different things based upon what company you're going after. But I believe we, can really narrow it down to what's the most consistent what I've seen out in the industry based upon my research to help you understand and help you possibly search for jobs in this field if this is something that's interesting to you. What we'll also do then in this is also pinpoint the education and maybe the experience needed on each of these. We'll do that a little bit later on in the presentation where I'll kind of basically give you some resources where you can kind of go look at this. It's pretty extensive, so trying to cover every aspect of every job and what's required educationally wise is probably not a good idea to try to cover in one video. We'll be here for a long time. So I'm going to show you some of the research I've done and what I found some good sites for you to be able to go on to find that kind of information. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Utilizing our illustration we have done before in regards to the relationships between data and data science, I want to stay with this. I might as well be consistent. This is actually a very good illustration that was done by Data Science, I think 365, I believe I'm saying that correct. And I'm going to give them their due, and I know I did in a previous presentation. Anyway, when we talk about traditional and big and business intelligence and traditional methods in machine learning, they did a really good, nice job kind of showing the people that are involved in every segment of this entire flow, if you will, which it is a flow, represented by this arrow kind of going through from past to future. So when it comes to traditional and big data, the people who actually do these types of jobs would be a data architect, database engineer, database administrator, which would be basically on the traditional side. Once you get to the big data side, it's the big data architect and the big data engineer. Going back from the business intelligence point of view, we would have our business intelligence analyst, business intelligence consultant, and business intelligence developer. A consultant, for the most part, is an analyst who doesn't work for the company, and so they're kind of outside looking in. I'm not going to cover that one too much. I'm not sure you could go out and find jobs as a business intelligence consultant. You would go work as a consultant, and then you basically be a business intelligence analyst who would be a consultant to a company. I'm not sure that makes perfect sense to you, but for the most part, I don't think you're going to find many job titles out there called that. All right. The other ones then, based upon our traditional methods of data science and machine learning of data science, which deals with, assess potential future scenarios by using advanced statistical methods and utilize artificial intelligence to predict behavior in unprecedented ways from machine learning. Who are the people who are involved in that? Well, that's the data scientists and the data analysts, along with the data scientists for machine learning and the machine learning engineer. Got it? All right. So let's kind of go look at these. I came up with some descriptions that kind of talk about each one individually. I'm going to probably read a little bit here, so bear with me as I do that. I hate reading to everybody, but I think for this particular situation, it kind of makes sense. So a data architect designs the way data will be retrieved, processed, and consumed. This is beyond doing what you did in probably database design and SQL course here at Cincinnati State. This is really talking about more of the big data or getting data ready for the big data to be able to do this. So data architects design and manage vast electronic databases to store and organize data. Again, very similar to what you know. They investigate a company's current data infrastructure and develop a plan to integrate current systems with the desired future state. Data architects then write code to create new secured frameworks for databases that can be used for hundreds of thousands of people. So that last sentence there, data architects then write code to create new secure frameworks for databases. Okay, that's a little bit beyond the database design in SQL. And what they do, they kind of look at the entire robust infrastructure to make sure it can be handled correctly. Once again, thousands of people like Amazon and eBay and so on can hit it at any one time. This takes a lot more knowledge than just being able to develop a database from scratch. All right? The data engineer really kind of gets into the process of getting things ready for big data. Okay, their process is the process of the obtained data so they can get ready for analysis. It will work with the data engine architect, if you will, to find the data needed in the current traditional flows to get it ready for the big data. All right, data engineers are necessary in the big data revolution to build, test, and maintain data architecture. Closely linked with data architects, indeed, these two positions must collaborate on most projects. Data engineers focus on the construction of systems that can house massive amounts of data. The architecture that a data engineer builds allows data scientists to easily pull relevant data sets for analysis. So this is taking it and getting it ready for big data, getting the data off the traditional modes, pushing it basically to the data warehousing. Or data warehouses is basically another word for a physical location for all the big data, a warehouse. Okay, I don't think we really covered that particular term before, but when you hear that term, that's what we're talking about. All right. Database administrators, when I read this, you'll basically say, hey, wait a minute, I kind of know what we're talking about here. It handles the control of data and mainly works with traditional data. Traditional data being, once again, relational databases and so on. DBAs have ultimate responsibility for designing and maintaining all aspects of an organization's data storage facilities. Database administrators are often tasked with building a new database from the ground up, beginning with the design and construction of application-specific customizations to a database platform and the implementation of a new database. So when you read this, you kind of sit back and say, hey, wait a minute, I kind of know how to do that based upon my database administration class, database design and SQL class. And the answer is you do. You know how to design a database from the ground up. DBAs are part of that. They do a little bit more and beyond that to ensure the database is backed up correctly, the database is being used correctly, the database is working as it should. It's being logged. It can be, rolled back. And that's what DBAs do. They do a lot more than just build up. They ensure the database is working at peak efficiency. But regardless, you do know a little bit about this. And I get some students who are interested in doing this as a career. DBAs is that. How do you get there? Usually it's a 4-year degree, but even if you just get into the field itself and start programming a little bit, you can work your way to a DBA. Very rarely do you come out of college, even a 4-year degree, and become a DBA right off the bat. You should take some experience, and usually starts with the programming, becoming a programmer first, and then working toward this. All right, so that's everything that we dealt with under traditional data and big data. The business intelligence analysis, so under business intelligence, we have this person called the business intelligence analyst. In this case, performs analysis and reporting of past historical data. We've kind of talked about that before. That's what business intelligence is all about. The analyst is the person who does that. Analysts help a company put the data it already collects to use in order to increase the company's efficiencies and maximize profits. They comb through large amounts of data by querying databases effectively and produce the reports to identify trends to generate actionable business insights. Business intelligence analysts must have a range of skills in big data, especially in data analysis, as well as keen business understanding. I really like this. I think this is a great field to get into. They do a lot of work. Their job is to look at the past and basically look at the trends to help a company understand where they've been and so on, so they can figure out where they're going. All right. Again, we are in IT, information technology. Our goal is to create information that can be pertinent to a business to improve its profits. The BI analyst is a big part of that. I think it's really interesting when they step back and say business intelligence analysts must have a range of skills in big data, especially in data analysis. That's cool, as well as keen business understanding. As you know, we have different programs here at Cincinnati State under computer program database management that deals with that understanding of business. I probably have consulted with many of you in regards to understanding business is really complementary to being a good IT professional. And then, if this is something you want to get into, you can kind of look at that. And again, understanding business is a nice thing to do. Okay, as I said before, I'm going to kind of not cover the consultant. A consultant is a business intelligence analyst, just somebody who does not work for the company that becomes in and does the consulting piece of it. So I found that entry on that illustration a little bit odd. They would have that. But there's a business intelligence developer. It performs analysis specifically designed for the company. A business intelligence developer is an engineer that is in charge of developing, deploying, and maintaining BI interfaces. Those include query tools, data visualization, and interactive dashboards, ad hoc reporting, and data modeling tools. I will tell you right now, the skills that you have coming out of Cincinnati State in regards to your programming skills and so on is a nice fit as a business intelligence developer. Don't shy away from this. It's basically a programmer. It is a programmer who's going to take this data and make it very visual and make it very interactive so our users can get a nice handle on what's going on in regards to business intelligence. Okay, it's just a way of using all your front end and back end capability to get that information there. Does that make sense? All right, you're not too far away from this one though. Matter of fact, it's probably a job you could possibly do coming out of here, or at least go toward as you get into the field. All right, now we're basically now into the data science piece of this. So we're in the future piece, right? And this is the data scientist under the traditional methods of data science, if you recall. Okay, so a data scientist employs traditional statistical methods or unconventional machine learning techniques for making predictions. And so if you recall, data science was actually, data scientist, I should say, was under traditional and also machine learning. A data scientist does both of this. Becoming a data scientist is relatively a new career trajectory that merges statistics, business logic, and programming knowledge. And I would also say understanding of data, of course, but it's a very high level mathematical business logic programming type tool. That's what you're going to be using there. So if you're interested in getting into data science, we'll talk about that as a data science or as a data scientist. Understand the requirements of the I should say the education and the skills that are needed. All right, math, programming, business, and analysis type techniques. But a new field, very highly, what do you want to say? Sort of very exciting field right now. As I said, it's brand new in the sense that and what it's doing out there and what it's doing for the companies, and also it's pretty good money if you get there. A data analyst prepares more advanced types of analysis. A data analyst is responsible for understanding the trends and insights that are revealed in massive data sets. Data analysts are often hired by companies to help inform decisions or improve business practices. So the data analyst piece under the data science basically takes this information and tries to recognize the trends to make the decisions on how to go forward and improve the business based upon what they're actually seeing. Okay, the machine learning engineer, this is the last one we basically talked about, applies state-of-the-art computational models. With advanced skills in mathematics, programming, and data science, machine learning engineers evaluate data streams and determine how best to go about producing models that return polished information to meet an organization's needs. And once again, this is a form of AI. And so they really work with a lot of the learning models and actually program everything for these learning models for the machine to be able to continually learn. So it's a very high level type of position, very technical in nature, and with a lot of mathematics and programming behind it. Nothing you guys can't handle. It requires a lot more education, but once again, you're on your way if that's something that's interesting to you. All right? Does that sort of make sense? All right. So based upon all those are all cool, exciting fields. It might be something that interests you. How do you get there? How do you become one of them? We talked about a few of them already, but for each field has a high level of education requirement, usually a bachelor's degree or above. I also feel, though, with your associate's degree, especially in today's world, you get a toe in the door someplace, you can work yourself towards some of these fields. If you want to get there a little bit faster and in a more conventional way, go and get more education. There's a lot of different places that do this. I know NKU, the College of Informatics, has a data science major itself. There are graduate level fields in data science and so on. I have peers that I have worked with who are data science right now, and it's all based upon their experience. They are doing data science in their work, and they actually basically became that based upon their experience. They didn't have education in it, they got it within the company itself, and then they basically became this. So there's a lot of different ways of getting there. It's a prominent field. Like I said, I was just recently with a couple friends of mine who are in the field, and they're a husband and wife, and they're both in the data science. One for Fidelity and one for another company. I can't think of its name, but another big company. And they both do this type of work, and they find it very exciting and very worthwhile and very fulfilling. All right. Uh, for specific requirements, I basically gave you a list under week 4 under the course under heading, the heading of career and career paths. Again, going through each one and what in this video, it's going to probably take an hour. So I didn't really want to go crazy here. So I want to show you where you can go find more information. So with that, I'm going to come out of this a little bit, and I'll come down here. This is our week 4 instructions. And you can see right here under career and career paths, I gave you basically a link just about for every one of the, not just about, for all of the professions that we just spoke about, from data architect, engineer, database administrator, business intelligence analyst. This is the business intelligence developer, the data scientist, data analyst, and a machine learning. I thought it was cool I was able to find these. Every one of these come from one website, except for one, and that's the Business Intelligence Developer. So go take a look at this one. The website that I found is this Discover Data Science, which I thought was a great website that talks about every field. Here's one for data architect. It describes what it is. It talks about how to become a successful data architect, and it goes into detail in each one of these, how to gain experience, what it is, what do they do, job descriptions, skills needed, and so on. The salary, let's see, what's the salary in this thing? I want to say the salary, according to $111,000 a year. That's not bad, right? I'll get you by for a little bit, and what the outlooks are. There's one for everyone except for the business intelligence developer. So data scientist, data analyst, architect, engineer, the business intelligence analyst, the machine learning engineer, and so on. Kind of cool, right? So you might want to look at these, okay? Again, I don't need to repeat it on a slide or talk to you about it. You can go here and read it. Based upon the one that might be interested in you, I hope you kind of go out and kind of see some of these things. All right? It's kind of interesting. We sit back and say, the programming languages for this, Python, Java, as well as C and C++, and Perl. Of course, we here at Cincinnati State, we teach Python, Java, as well as C and C++. All right, and so you've been on Windows, we emulated some Linux based upon your PHP. So some of the stuff you've actually know pretty well in regards to this, okay? SQL Server, and so on. So it's kind of neat that you're getting there. You don't know every one of these things, and you're never going to know everything everybody wants, but you know quite a bit, and you know how to build upon that by now. All right? Cool. Let's see. Let's go back here, and let's see what we need to finish. So a link, so basically in this case, a link for each career discussed. The video is available to you. You'll find more information on each profession and the educational requirements of each. That's what I kind of mentioned. Of course, you can also do more exploring. I recommend you do that. Go out and Google. All these things are pretty common. Like I said, I liked what that slide did. I think it narrowed down the more common terms when it comes to these fields. Don't be surprised if you see other ones out there, but hopefully you'll recognize the differences between them based upon what you find. But Google, find it, and see what you can come up with. All right? So I end my slideshow with, so what will you be? So if you're taking this course and it's an interest to you, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And again, as you can discover, and what we've talked about so far in this course, it's a hot field, and it's a field that's going to just keep building because of the information that's being supplied from this big data scientist, predictive modeling type stuff that's really helping businesses. All right? So with that, have some fun exploring.